It's like a mirror at first, you know, these live streams. You are sitting here looking at yourself and you realise it's 6 a.m. and you're looking pretty shabby. Uh, hey guys, hello, good morning. It's Chat with Matt. We've got half an hour together. It's the 18th of, well, it's September, isn't it? That's pretty, it's 2019. And here we are. I'm in Bali. It's 6 a.m. The sun doesn't rise till 6:30, so it's sort of morning light. And I'm sitting down. I'm kind of sitting under the pool. Would you believe? I can't really show you. Maybe I can show you if I turn this around. That's the pool up there. It's kind of an infinity pool. I just hold my selfie stick up so that you can see. My selfie stick that's kind of a tripod. So that's where I am. It's kind of private down here, except there is a guy behind me. I don't know if you can hear that rustling over there. There's a guy behind me cutting bamboo down. He's just started, as per normal. Yesterday I was doing my call for my call for the bright light client attraction community from this place, my Q&A call, 2-hour Q&A call from this very same spot. And the guy up in that rice paddy you can kind of see the edge of, that's the edge of the rice paddy up there, all of a sudden started up this big old cultivator that's kind of like this. He skis behind it standing on a plank, and it's got these two big paddles, and it basically plows through the rice paddy, turning it over after they've harvested the rice. So it goes boop, 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 like that. So of course, it wasn't on the Q&A call, sorry, so that's where I'm at. There he is, cutting his bamboo. It was on the meditation I did in the Mantara Empowerment Transformation Support Community. I can't remember what I'm doing from day to day. Hello Emily, hello Mary, who else is with us? Hello Sylvie. Yeah, you like my shirt? It's got geckos on it. It cost me $15 New Zealand, $10 US. It's really, really soft cotton. Here in Bali. Everything's good in Bali. I'll tell you a little bit. So I'm here to answer questions, by the way, so you can post them here. I have a question from Sylvie, which I'm going to get into here. I've also got Jermaine, just basically requested love. So we're holding that space as well for you, Sister Jermaine, when you watch this back. It's infused with love just for everyone. I was about to say just for you, but it's not. You requested it. It's there for everyone. This is what I did yesterday. I had a very, very interesting day yesterday. Nasty Mary, holding love for you too. Oral surgery, wherever that happened. Relax and enjoy and trust. Everything's transforming as it should in your mouth. I'm just going to raise this slightly because I seem to be popping up a little bit too high out the top of frame. I don't mind cutting off the top of my bald head because it kind of looks better than this. And I certainly don't want the frame to look like this with all this space above me. But it's just how much I chop off the top of my head. I used to work in the film industry, so I know a thing or two about framing. Anywho, yesterday, I had an awesome day yesterday. Let me tell you about my yesterday. Yesterday, I did a 7-hour spa session. It cost me the sum total of 1.35 million Indonesian rupiah, which is about $90 US. 7 hours, which included an hour for lunch, with this massive set menu in a very, very nice restaurant called Bridges here in Ubud. But the spa session itself started off with like this 2-hour oil massage where they tipped 2.5 litres of warm Ayurvedic oil over my body, very slowly drizzled it out of this container, running it all over your body, which in itself is an awesome sensation of oil just drizzling on your body. It's kind of like you're being basted, and then a very oily kind of, not a deep massage, but a relatively firm massage, which is how I like it. Hello Sister Meg, I'm talking about my spa extravaganza yesterday. And so that went on for 2 hours. And then it finished with about 20 minutes or nearly half an hour of them just drizzling oil in a very, very controlled way right on my third eye. So you're lying on your back, and there's this thing set up like this vessel that's just drizzling oil from a very fine point out of its base, right in your third eye, warm oil. And it's quite the experience, I have to tell you. That was the main draw card for me. That's what I wanted to go and have. But my Marie had done it a couple of years ago, this same experience, and I was jealous of her. And so, well, not jealous, inspired by her, better way of putting it, right? I was inspired by her. I wanted to have that experience as well. So it's been on my bucket list. This trip to Bali has been about ticking off a lot of things on Matt's bucket list: seeing Komodo, swimming with manta rays, swimming with sea turtles. Hadn't done any of those three things. Sister Melita, how are you? I had my spa treatment yesterday at Bali Botanica, and so I'm telling everyone about it, having the oil on my forehead and all the rest of it. Going to lunch at Bridges. I had a bath like full of petals, and you just soak in this bath and you get a fresh like juice, freshly squeezed carrot and something juice. Yeah, and so that's exactly it, Sylvie. It's really stretching me out of my comfort zone, because while I like the idea of having that experience, the idea of having someone totally dedicated to looking after me for that amount of time, and the sort of whole indulgent factor of it, like getting in a bath full of petals and you think, oh my God, all of these petals were just picked for me. But in a way, it's like, oh God, what a waste, right? What a waste of petals that they're all picked just for me. So getting over my lack of self-worth, my lack of appreciation of myself, and my lack of, deservedness has been a lot of also what this trip has been about, and so it's been more than a little challenging. Good morning, mate. Time for security to set up the umbrellas. So potentially, no, it just came to switch off some lights. So yeah. And so what else was in this day? I also had a facial, which was quite interesting as well, because it was the first time I've ever had a facial. I didn't know quite what to expect, but it was lovely, having your face massaged and all sorts of different potions and lotions rubbed on, all very natural. This is Bali Botanica. They're an Ayurvedic setup, so it's all very, very good product. But what was funny in my mind is they asked me, oh, do you want to have your pores cleaned? And I thought, oh, that sounds great. I'm sure they're going to have some high-tech method. And so they steam your face for a while, and then she was basically there with a fingernail squeezing my blackheads. Oh my God, I almost died. It took me back to childhood when my mother used to do the same thing, and I didn't quite, sorry Mum if you're watching, but I always didn't like it. And so now I was lying there while this very, very nice Balinese girl was doing her very best to squeeze the blackheads out of the side of my nose without hurting me. Oh my God. What an experience. And finished with this hair mask. So I had my head massaged again, and my hair in this, and then hair washed. And it's, I had a hair mask done back in Ubud. Not in Ubud, I'm in Ubud now. Back in Sanur, from a beautiful place. If you're ever in Sanur looking for a great place to have a massage or a facial or a hand treatment, all the girls are there getting all their stuff done, pedicures, manicures, but really good massages as well. It's called The Nest. It's in Sanur on the beachfront next to a good restaurant called Pantai, if you're looking for that as well. I believe there's 2 locations to The Nest. I'm here doing plugs, they're not paying me at all. But I had a really good massage, hair massage, hand massage and foot massage at The Nest. Anyway, so I'm getting into it, and I'm allowing myself to receive, which is what it's all about. I'm allowing myself to receive. Last night, so this went on till 4 o'clock, and then I basically got a lift uptown, got in the shuttle bus with Marie and Samiha, and we went out and met quite a few of our friends out at people who have been on retreat with us, and the like, Rob and Anna, my good friend Rob. We went and met at the Pyramids of Chi. If you're into sound healing and you're in Ubud, go to the Pyramids of Chi. It's very, very good. And we did a cacao ceremony last night, which is my first time doing a cacao ceremony. And it was run by this guy, and he was awesome. And I had some lovely times doing that as well. We drank the cacao. There's a whole ceremony around that. We did some chanting together. We did some dancing together. We had a sound experience together, like 45-minute gong bath from this guy and his assistant, and they were doing gongs and bowls and all of the hoo-ha, and it was awesome. And I had a really nice connection with Marie, because the cacao opens the heart, and we did some eye gazing, and we did all sorts of things. So it's been a really, really good trip for me. It's been a hard trip, because this time last week I was in complete and utter suffering while I was still hosting a retreat. Not that hosting a retreat causes suffering, but something that had gone on earlier was causing some suffering, which I'm not going to go into here and now. But here we are. We're here to answer questions. It's chat with Matt, and I'm just talking about myself thus far. So please, I danced a lot. I've got a bit of a blister started on my big toe from too much jumping on the wooden floor inside a pyramid. These are in pyramids, right? It was built on this exact replicas of the sun and the moon pyramid from Egypt, right? So yeah, I want a bit of a blister on my toe because I got right into it and I was having a good time. So Sister Sylvie wrote a question, and I've got my trusty laptop here, and I do have Wi-Fi now, so things are working technologically, although because I'm not out in the Komodo Islands or up in Tejikula. I'm actually in the metropolis of Ubud. So we've got things like Wi-Fi and stuff working. So here's Sylvie wrote in a question about time management. Here we go. I'm going to make it a bit bigger for myself. Can I do that? No, not exactly. Anyway, it's because it's not a touch screen. God. Do you guys do this as well? Do you, I want honest answers here. Do you try and use your computer like it's a phone? Just interested if it's just me or whether other people forget that you need to use the little touchpad if you want to touch your computer, not the screen. You start doing, oh my God. So this is in part answering Sylvie's question, because today I believe most of us are having interesting experiences with our mind not being nearly as sharp as they used to, because we're getting more into our heart, and there's this transitional period happening where our mind is having to shut down a little bit to allow our heart to get stronger. I do believe our mind will come back and will regain our sharpness once the heart has established itself as an equal partner in this thing. A lot of people think they have to lose their mind and just be all heart-based, and it's not really the case. We just need to change, and we're going to pendulum, let's face it. We are going to go more into the heart for a while, and our mind's going to be mush for a while, and then we're going to, and then the mind tries to come back and tries to control things again, and we don't like that, and so it's a messy process. But eventually we're going to get to this place where mind and heart are much more equal in doing the job of directing our life, and we utilize the correct aspect of us for the correct task. But right now, I personally am having trouble with my mind because things like memory and time management and doing simple things is interesting. Okay, Louis, I'm going to jump straight onto that as soon as I've been talking about self-worth right now. So you, my brother, so Lewis basically wrote in and said, "Hi Matt, self-worth and not charging enough for my skills. Please, can you touch on it?" Lewis, you've been trying so hard to win clients and prove yourself and quote-unquote survive. You're perpetuating a energy in your field that you're not appreciated, and you're not, what's the other word I want to use? More than appreciation. Respected, right? You're losing respect from your clients because you are trying too hard to win their appreciation. Now, I know once you start winding into, because I've been there and I still am there in certain ways, I know when you start trying to win your clients, because basically you're in survival stress, right? Because you're not earning enough money and you're not busy enough, so you start trying extra hard to give people extra value, lowering your own charges, making it, in your mind, very appealing for them to hire you, but you basically then start projecting an energy of not good enough, and it perpetuates. The way that you are going to start getting busier and earning a lot more money and feeling a lot more satisfied in yourself is to set firm boundaries in what you will work for, and basically be willing to say no to people, and basically be very much on alert about underselling yourself to people, and value yourself. Because when you start valuing yourself, other people will reflect it back to you, and they will value you, and they will pay you much more, and they will be more keen to actually hire you in the first place. I know it seems crazy because there is a certain part of the population who is bargain mentality is very strong for them, and they think if they can get it cheaper, then they're winning. But there's another part of the population who is much more savvy, and the people you want to work for are much more savvy, and they're looking for the best. They're looking for the best. So when you position yourself as the best, and not from an egoic point of view that you're the best pattern maker or tailor or whatever you know, I know you've got a couple of different hats that you can put on here, but when you really position yourself from a space of value, then other people are going to be much more likely to hire you, and you're going to have to be willing to take the difficult decision to basically say no to people. Because some people, you're going to be tested on this because you've still got the energy in your field, so they're going to, you know, you're going to proposition people that I can do this job for you, and then they're going to want to bargain you down, and you basically have to say, no, this is my price, right? You do that a few times and you're going to start getting busier. You're going to start getting busier, and I know it's hard to basically, when you're hungry, to say no to doing something that's potentially going to get you some money, but it's basically the way you have to go in order to re-establish your self-worth inside of yourself. And it is going to take a lot of courage, and it is going to take a lot of commitment to yourself, and to stay true to that, and to breathe through the discomfort of potentially saying no to a job that you could do and would earn some money, but if it's not really valuing who you are, then it's not worth doing, because overall that's eroding your energy and thus reducing your ability to get the next job in a more empowered way. So you need to stand on your own 2 feet, in your own energy, powerfully demand what you are worth, and understand that that is a dynamic process, and you don't need to go to the top tier straight away, but you definitely need to step up a couple of tiers from where you've been. Right? It's a progression. We can't expect to all of a sudden just say, no, I'm worth, you know, $500 an hour and I don't work for anything less, because that's not going to hold, right? If you can't accept that yourself, then you're not going, you know, it's not going to work. But if you say, no, I don't work for $30 an hour anymore, you know, it's $50 an hour or nothing, that's what I'm worth. Whatever the numbers are, right? I'm picking them out of the air, and I don't pretend to be a psychic that knows, you know, shit like that. I don't see the numbers. It's just what flew out of my mouth. But so that's it, Brother Lou. That's it. I'm in the same boat, right? I truly, very, very quick to, you know, sacrifice myself in order to please the others. But ultimately, that doesn't benefit them. It doesn't benefit them. You think you're pleasing them, but actually they don't respect you for it. So we have to claim our respect by holding our boundaries and what we know in our heart, and demand it. Not demand it in a, you know, this way, but in a way that we're, you know, very quick, very strong in ourselves. MK, I turned down a few jobs I didn't want to do, even though I really needed the money. That's what you're talking about. That's exactly right. It's exactly right, MK, because as soon as we start really needing the money, that doesn't help. And of course there is a balance here, you know, and it's not that we should just hold out for the exact perfect job. Sometimes, you know, we have to be pragmatic with this, but there's lines in the sand, and we need to know where they're at. So it's not about, you know, holding out for the exactly right job in our mind, because sometimes our mind doesn't have it and we don't realize it's a progression to be had. But we do need to be willing to trust what we really feel, and most importantly to honor. You know, you get all of a sudden get a big pay rise, and we can't hold it. We don't, you know, inside of us, the resistance to that new level of abundance is too much. We you know, don't feel worthy. But that's not that it was a mistake. It's just that it was pushing up, and we didn't fail. We were just going through a process of release. And to lose that job at the higher pay rate is not the end of the world, because if you work through it in an empowered way, you go back to it, right? It's you know, every step up takes a few attempts. Generally takes a few attempts. So be willing to you know, remember that you have been paid, you know, on a salary of 140,000 before, and you know, you can go back to that. So so hold true. Mary wrote in also, I'm in the same boat as some of my clients want my work at a cheaper rate. Yeah, and you just basically say no, Mary, because they'll respect you more. They'll respect you more, and they'll actually want you more. When you start respecting yourself, you basically actually uplift your own prestige, your own, there's another word for it, prestige wasn't the word I was looking for, but you basically create a stronger desire for your services when you put yourself at a premium rate, right? You know, my dad used to always say, working in the film industry, you're only as good as your invoice, which basically meant, you know, the higher your rate of charge was, the more your value was perceived in the eyes of the producer, right? If you charge more, then you must be better, right? That mentality is still very much alive. You know, you get what you pay for. When you put yourself at a premium rate, without being stupid about this, without trying to manipulate everything about this, but when you put yourself at a premium rate, when you really honor yourself, that vibration resonates out around you, and others pick up on it, and they feel more inclined to employ you and pay that rate, because on a level, it increases their status in their mind to get the best. And if you're charging a premium rate, and especially if you back up your premium rate that you're charging with a great service, of course, it's not just about, you know, doing a shit job and putting your rate up high. It's, you know, it's honoring the fact that people like Lewis and Mary both are very, very integral people who work very hard at what they do and do a really good job. And that's the crazy thing in this world. Many of us who have high ethics, high morals, high standards of what we do, you know, are the least likely to promote ourselves and more likely to slash our rates to please people, which is crazy. There's other people shouting from the rooftop about how good they are with the highest rate and all the bling, and they've got no substance, right? They're not actually good at what they do. And yet the market values their marketing, or at least it has in the past, and so, you know, it pisses us off, basically. And then we don't want to market ourselves, because we look at people who are marketing themselves and say they've got no substance, I don't want to be like them. We have to step our ability to market ourselves, we have to value ourselves, we have to put a premium price on what we do, because we are worth it, and we do deliver the goods. That's the point. We do deliver the goods. It's not about racking up our price to manipulate the market. It's putting our price where it should be based on the service we provide. That's it. Anyway, I was going to read Sylvie's question, so I'm going to get back to my laptop and read Sylvie's question. So Sylvie was talking about a question of time management. I used to be very linear, doing one thing after another. I have been studying sciences, so very thorough. Now I find myself spiraling around things. I do a little bit of this, and then I come back to the first thing, and I get further. All the more that if you, for instance, upgrade a video, audio to make it louder, there is a time when your video is uploaded in your software. So things take time, basically, if you're working, you know, online, and I do this as well, so I know what Sylvie's talking about. You know, you basically set something, and then it has to process, has to, you know, go through the process of rendering and then uploading and da-da-da-da. So, you know, either you sit there waiting for it to do that, which doesn't seem like a very good use of time, or you do something else. So basically what Sylvie's saying is, the thing is, I feel quite scattered. Do others get organized in a spiral now instead of linear? Okay, she's got another example when she was preparing boxes for moving, which she did recently, that she didn't just, you know, work systematically through the house. She says she basically did a little bit here and a little bit there, following basically intuitive guidance and moving around with the energies. So yes, Sylvie, I do believe we are definitely moving out of the contraction around needing to maintain linear processes, right, which is very logical to the mind, because as I explained before when I talked about, you know, not being able to use my computer and my phone simultaneously because they both require different methods, we're getting out of our mind, and we're getting out of that contraction and the rightness around having to do things in a very structured, organized, linear way. We're moving out of a, you know, energetically big energy. We're moving out of a structured, masculine, domineering, dark energy, right? The dark forces have used a very structured, masculine energy and authority, and we've worked in that energy for a long time. So structures and linearity have been the order of the day for thousands of years, but that's falling apart now when we're getting this beautiful, warm, you know, collaborative, feminine energy coming in, which is much more inspiring, to doing things in an artistic way, in an intuitive way, in a softer way, and that is inherently less linear. So at first we've got this old still there, and the old rules about do one thing, do it well, then move on to the next, which runs in the back of our mind and confuses matter, or we bring in judgment that, oh, I'm not getting as much done because I can't see completions. I'm not going down my list and ticking things off one at a time. I'm doing a little bit on everything. Did I really make progress today? You know, the old mind wants to measure our progress to make sure we are right. right? And we're moving out of needing to measure our progress. I talk a lot about this in yoga classes now and everything, getting out of completion mentality, getting out of this idea that I need to measure and analyze and critique myself about whether I'm doing it right, whether I'm doing yoga right, whether I'm doing meditation right, whether I'm succeeding. This whole idea of success mentality. Enjoy your enjoy your wife's birthday. Happy birthday to your wife, Brother Lou. Take my blessings, please. And I hope, I trust that the cake is going to be awesome. I trust the cake's going to be awesome. I could talk about all the desserts I've been eating lately. We had a meal last night at this. If you're ever in Ubud and you like Indian food, there's this place up on the main road. I can't remember if it's still Hanuman Street. It's not Hanuman Street. It's the main road that runs past the palace in Ubud. Everyone who's been to Ubud knows where the palace is. If you keep going down towards the bridge, there's a place on the right called Roti Dal. It is an awesome Indian restaurant. It's sort of a thali restaurant, so you basically get a thali and you can basically choose what different curries, and you can even taste them before you choose them out of the bakery, and they're all awesome. And you just get katoris of them, and then you can order your breads, different rotis, or the big rice ones that are called dosas, and you can get masala dosa or whatever, and dip, and you eat with your hands, and it's just glorious. And they have these desserts as well. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The point is, Sister Sylvie and everyone else, yes, I do believe we're doing things in a much more spiral, artistic way, and it's harder and harder for our mind to ascertain whether we're doing, quote unquote, a good job, whether we are succeeding. It's getting harder to intellectualize how productive we're being, and that's hard for us, but we have to trust. We just have to trust if we're doing stuff from our heart in a way that feels appropriate, then we are being productive. And it's not so much about measuring things and proving to ourselves, right? It's about having to get out of needing to prove to ourselves that we're doing it right, that we're being right, and just trust that if we're living our passion, just as I am right now, Sylvie wrote, it's good to see you so enthused and happy about your time there, right? I'm living in passion. And so I'm being productive, even though, I'm not spending a lot of time in front of my computer. There's things I want to do. I did an awesome collaboration with Sandhya from, let me try and get the name of her, her business page, Sandhya's, or I think it's just Sandhya. I think it's with an S, but Sandhya Sound Healing Alchemist, right? Who's a client of mine and came on retreat with us, and we did some collaborations. She did some sound. I was helping her basically lift her confidence in herself and her ability to facilitate, right? And at the end of the retreat, we did this collaborative thing, me using English and light language, her playing her instruments, bowls and different Zen tubes and all sorts of awesomeness. And we recorded it, and I've actually put it together, and I want to get it on my web store. I want to advertise it and put it out there for sale because it's really, really good, but I'm just struggling to find time because I have to spend 7 hours in a spa treatment and then 3 hours in a cacao ceremony and then have an Indian meal and not get home till 11 o'clock last night, and now it's 6 a.m. and we've got yoga to go to at 8 o'clock, and then this afternoon I'm driving down to Sanur to see another client who lives here in Bali and run a session with her, and then of course have dinner on the beach as you would if you're in Sanur. So it's a busy life. I'm having trouble finding time to do my work, but the point is I'm here living it, and this is really, really important to me, be in this passion and to be in this lifestyle to further improve my ability to facilitate. And sure enough, next week I'll be back in a much more contained environment back at home, and I will start dotting I's and crossing T's again and getting a few things kind of ticked off my list, right, even though it's not happening in a linear fashion, because that will be the appropriate time. So it's about, horses for courses, appropriate time to do things. I'm running out of time. I just looked at 6:30. I'll chat with Matt's coming to an end. So yes, passion is up in the field right now. That's awesome, MK. So work with it. Sound Alchemist, that is correct. That is correct, Sister Sylvie. Sandhya Sound Healing Alchemist. I think it's Sound Healing Alchemist. Anyway, so look for it. I'm gonna post it soon. I don't know if it's gonna happen today, but it's frustratingly close to being ready to publish, and yet I'm just haven't quite found. I didn't really find the impetus for doing it at 11 o'clock last night when I knew I had to be down here by the pool at 6 a.m. I chose sleep instead. But it will happen. I'm I'm holding intention that it happens before I leave these shores, that it's up for sale. And it really is good. It really is good. I'm really loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm going to do more work like this. I'm getting much more enthused about the idea of collaborations. I've always worried about a little bit about collaboration. My mind has worried about collaborations in the past, and I was going to water down Mantara's energy, but I realised that that's BS from Matt. And if anything, it's basically enhanced, especially when I work with people who are aligned, right? My aligned bright lights, my aligned bright light clients, my aligned bright light collaborators, because they are basically amplifying Mantara's energy because they're already very, very, very much aligned with me. So, yes, creativity fueling passion and passion fueling creativity. Thank you, Sister Sylvie. So, my friends, that was Chat with Matt. I know I did a lot of chatting about myself and not as much answering of questions today. C'est la vie. That is it. I look forward to serving you again next week. It'll probably be a little bit earlier in the day because 6 a.m. is about as early as I want to start facilitating over here, especially if it's video, because otherwise there's no light in the sky, and I can't really do it in my room because Marie's asleep, as she would be if you weren't out here. Hey, Sister Mandy, I'll see you this afternoon. I'm just finishing this up. Much, much love to you all. Namaste. Enjoy. Much love. Bye for now.